right. Well, in order to make the best use of everybody's time, let's we can get started. I'm just trying to see what camera will stay on here. But yeah, so we titled this 10 ways to double your income even in a down market. So we've got 10 really good bullet points here that we wanted to share with you that the agents on our team have been actively implementing to to make sure that they're keeping their income consistent, and in line with what they were earning last year, 6 months ago, 12 months ago, 18 months ago. So a lot of it is probably just a refresher, and a lot of it's not wildly new ideas, but it's just interesting ways to look at things a little bit differently, and to sort of shift your focus during this, we'll call it a unique market, right? So Ava,
yes,
I can sort of go through the points, I guess, and then why don't you touch upon anything that you may want to add?
Okay, perfect.
All right, good. So in no specific order, the first point that we wrote down was stop saying next year, right? So I think what we all understand, I've been in the business now just over 15 years. This is definitely one of the slower times of the year between Thanksgiving and Christmas. And, if we include Thanksgiving and the end of the year, this is a time when most agents take off, right? They just sort of have this sort of mindset that, nobody's out there, nobody's doing business, nobody's transacting, it's cold, people just want to go to holiday parties, people want to just take this time off. But if you've ever been in coaching, I know all of my coaches have always told me over the years that if we're all treating this like a real job and we're not thinking like a 1099 employee, and we've all had real jobs before, you don't just take off because Christmas is in 10 days, right? You may take off Christmas Eve, and you may take off the day after Christmas and Christmas, of course, but all those other days we're still working, right? Of course, people have holiday parties, and are they working at 100% capacity? Probably not, right? Everybody's sort of, going through the motions a little bit. But what we've said was stop saying next year, stop saying, putting things off. There are buyers each and every day out there presenting offers. If you look in your MLS and you look at homes that have gone under contract in the last week, there's still hundreds in our market in Hudson County, New Jersey, that are still going under contract, in the last week or so. So someone's doing these deals, and we think that if you keep consistent with your activities, that someone could be you. So, stop thinking that nothing's going on right now, because there's agents out there doing business each and every day. I would spend, what we're trying to implement on our team is spend the next 2-3, I guess there's probably exactly 2 weeks left in the year. Spend the next 2 weeks lining up some clients for January. If you're getting the objection that we're going to wait until next year or Christmas is coming up, say, all right, well, let's get something on the calendar, even if it's 2 weeks away. Let's get something on the calendar to go look at some homes, whatever that Monday is after New Year's, right? January 4th, January 5th, whatever that ends up being, the day that everybody goes back to work, let's get something on the calendar tentatively. Maybe it's a little bit of a test. Maybe they're just saying, oh, well, call me in the new year. Well, I could call you in the new year, but my calendar's filling up really quick. A lot of people are planning to go out right when they go back to work. Let's get something penciled in the calendar. It's so much easier to take you out of the schedule than it is to try to find a spot for you. Let's pencil something in now, and then I'll follow up with you, a few days before just to reconfirm. Fair enough? Cool. So get rid of that mindset that nobody's doing deals. There are hundreds of deals being done in your marketplace right now. You just need to do some of these other activities to get involved in those. Cool. Anything to add on that, Eva?
I would say it's definitely great. Again, definitely line up the sellers for beginning of January, even if they are giving you the objection. For buyers, if there's properties that are on the market right now, you don't want them to miss out on those. So even on the buy side, if you wanted to still take them out next week, still take them out the week after, the last 2 weeks, just because January 1st comes around, those properties might not be available by that time. especially, right now there's still buyers out there, like John said, Hudson County, still places are going under contract. So your buyers are going to miss out on their properties if you're not taking them out, next week or the week after.
Cool. So second point that we wrote down was, instead of trying to find a million buyers to work with, right? Like what we were talking about earlier in one of our meetings was 6, 12, 18 months ago, I felt like the strategy that we talked about was like hungry hippo, right? There was hundreds of buyers, and it was like, how can I possibly talk to all of them and schedule appointments with all of them and get in front of all of them, right? There were Saturdays and Sundays where we were going out with 4 or 5 different clients, right? Of course, the market's changed and that's slowed down a bit. So instead of having that mentality of how do I get in touch with all of these buyers, really take a focus and focus on the buyers that you're working with right now that can actually purchase. Maybe it's a cash buyer. Maybe it's a buyer. I mean, I spoke to our lender about an hour ago. What he said in our market was that the average buyer could get a mortgage today at 5.99% for a 30-year fixed mortgage, which, listen, in the scheme of things, I've heard 8%, I've heard 7, 6, really doesn't sound that bad, especially when you make it sound like 5.99. So focus on those buyers that have to do something. We're always trying to work with the buyers that are most motivated, but now I think more important than ever, focus on the people who need to do something, right? The example we gave in our meeting today was one of the guys on our team, John Feltz, has a buyer who says, hey, show me a $200,000 condo. Doesn't matter the price point, but for this specific person, they want a $200,000 condo in a certain area that they can turn around and Airbnb. So they're giving him a project. And usually if that was 12 months ago, when you are given sort of an assignment from a buyer, you say, oh man, like I'll just go online and I'll send you a list. Everything's available. You tell me which ones you want to see. Instead of sort of taking that lax approach, do a little bit of what we're actually supposed to be doing for our clients, right? Some digging, right? Go on the MLS, go on the other MLS where there may be some other listings incorrectly posted. Go on some of these for sale by owners websites, forsalebywowner.com, the for sale by owner section of Zillow, and do a little bit more hunting for your buyer if you know that they're specifically qualified. So again, instead of trying to take like a shotgun approach and work with 20 buyers at a time, really love on the ones that can do something right now. Like for instance, Ava, you're working with a cash buyer, right?
Yeah. So I actually have a past client, helped him purchase something a little bit earlier in the year, investment property. It's a young investor. He's all cash. So he's looking to purchase another property at the end of the year. He's ready to go. He's cash. So there's no interest rate issue. He's not saying, oh, maybe I'll wait until January. Maybe I'll wait until the new year. Because of the interest rates, I want to see where things are going, like the excuses that we've heard from, less motivated people. So with him being cash, really just focusing on him because I know there's not going to be any issue going forward.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Like this business is simple. It's just not easy, right? And you hear people say that all the time. It's not brain surgery, right? Let's stop trying to take like mass action and give everybody the same approach. Let's really love on those people who can do something.
Yeah.
If this guy is clearly going to give you less objections because he is all cash, and just a reminder, our rental market right now is absolutely insane. He wants to cash in on those high rents that he can rent that a unit for. Let's focus on him. Go above and beyond like we're supposed to be doing anyway. Find some things that maybe he can't find himself on Zillow and other avenues. Maybe it's an expired listing. Maybe it's something off market, whatever it is. And, see if you can put some deals together for him that way, right? Yep. When you do right by somebody like that, and they post a review or they tell their friends like, hey, not only did Ava find me a place, but she found me something that I couldn't have found myself.
Yeah.
They're gonna remember that for a while, especially an investor. That person could end up buying 5 or 6 properties from you.
Yeah.
So you need to do things to differentiate yourself, again, to double your income in this current market, right? So number 3 we wrote down. So that was number 2, and we'll just title that one, focus on some 1 or 2 really motivated buyers. Number 3, we'll say stay in front of your database. And this is something that we could say in any market, but let's specifically think of some ideas and ways to stay in front of your voice, in front of your database, excuse me. First of all, make sure you're calling your clients quarterly. This is going to be their fourth quarter call. Some ideas and ways to stay in front of them. If you have a listing that's coming on the market, call them, let them know, hey, I'm bringing a home. It's on 123 Main Street. It's 3 bedrooms, 1 bath. It doesn't have to be your listing. It could just be your team's listing, or it could be your office's listing. I'm sure you have friends. It could even be a friend of yours that's at another brokerage. Hey, would you be okay if I call some of my past clients and tell them about your listing? They'd be like, yeah, sell it, please. You just need something to call your database about, rather than just calling your database and saying, hey, just wanted to check in. How you doing? You know, do you need my help? Like, I don't know about you, but I get a lot of phone calls. I wouldn't return that voicemail. So unless, you know, I really had nothing else going on, to be honest. So you need to bring value to your database, right? So that you're not just calling them to check in. If you ever hear yourself calling your database and saying, hey, just checking in, you know, like your hairdresser doesn't do that, your doctor doesn't do that, your attorney doesn't do that. Only realtors do that, just to check in, right? Like, what are you calling them for? You're calling them for more business. But in this case, bring value to the call. Hey, we're bringing a new listing to the market. It's 3 bedrooms, 1 bath. It's at 123 Main Street. I know you live within about a mile from there. Who do you know that would be interested in a property like this, right? Not, do you know anybody? Because that's a yes, no question, but who do you know, right? Who do you know? It forces them to say, you know, they might say, I can't think of anybody. Oh, you can't think of anybody? No problem. Well, what about somebody from work? What about somebody from church? What about somebody that's in your circle, you know, your family, whatever it is? Try to start the conversation a little bit. It could be in their town. It could be a mile away, right? It doesn't need to be specifically relatable to them, right? So that's just your general database. Then what we would say is focus a little bit more and actually call some of the buyers you've been working with. And, you know, if we're looking, like, let's just say a town in our market, right? Let's just say Clifton. If the property that you're bringing to the market is in Clifton, you can make it a little bit more specific. Maybe it's actually a good fit for somebody that's a lead of yours. Doesn't have to be in your database, but calling past leads that you know are looking in that town, let them know that you have a house that's coming on the market. One of the things we talked about this morning is, if you know that that lead's looking in the $500,000 range, it's okay to call them with a property that's $300,000, right? It's really not necessarily the odds of them saying, oh my God, that's the house of my dreams, I'm going to put in an offer today, is so slim. The idea is to bring value to the call, so you're not just calling them with nonsense, right? The idea is to show them that you're active in the market. By doing this, you're showing them that you're proactive. You're showing them that you know the market. You're showing them that you're thinking about them. You're staying in front of them. People with good business sense and people who are actually motivated will appreciate these things, right? So if you leave a voicemail, I'll let you close out on this part. The sizzle, we call it. We want you to give them the sizzle, but not the steak. So it's a stupid little analogy, but Ava, why don't you touch upon that a little bit?
Yes, of course. So when leaving a voicemail, of course, if you actually get them on the phone, like John said, you could say, we have something coming soon. It's at 123 Main Street, 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, whatever it is. Give them all the details. If you're leaving a voicemail, of course, you don't want to give them the full message ever on the voicemail. If they hear that, okay, maybe the property's in Rutherford and they were only looking in Clifton, then they won't call you back. So you definitely want to be able to get them on the phone. So just give them a little bit. So I have a listing that's coming soon. I think it might fit your criteria. Definitely want to touch base with you today before it goes live on Friday. Can you give me a call back at some point? That way you're not, giving them all the details there. Otherwise, there's no reason for them to call you back.
Right. It's comparable to when you're negotiating an offer, right? Yeah. Sometimes I have a counter offer for the other agent. I'm never going to call them and say, because maybe they don't like the number. Yeah. Hey, my client came back at 525. Just let me know if that works. If they think that that's a horrible number, they're not going to call me back. Hey, I have a counter offer for you. Call me when you have a minute, right? You need to give these people some reason to actually call you back. So you're going to give them the sizzle, but not the steak. Hey, I have a new listing. It's coming on the market. I thought it'd be a good fit for you. It's 2 bedrooms. It's in, X, Y, and Z area. give me a ring when you have some time, right? A little bit of a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Awesome. So we wrote number 4. So that was point number 3. Point number 4, call, not text clients for the holidays. Instead of not calling them, because some people have the mentality of like, oh, I don't want to bother Ava and call her during the holidays. Get that out of your head. It's the holiday season. Yes, people are busy with holiday parties and Christmas shopping and holiday shopping and all this other stuff, but they're not too busy for your call. You definitely want to call them and use it as a reason to reach out and just say happy holidays. Wanted to touch. You can even combine that with the call we just talked about. Hey, just reaching out. Wanted to wish you happy holidays. I also have a property coming on the market in your area. Was thinking of you guys. I used to tell people, hey, I drove through your neighborhood the other day on my way to another appointment, right? Which is a nice way of saying, hey, I'm super busy. I have a lot of appointments in your area. I was going through your neighborhood yesterday. I thought of you guys. I just wanted to check in. You don't want to say check in, right? We said don't say that. I just wanted to wish you a happy holidays. And I also wanted to tell you about a new listing I have coming on the market. Who do you know that's looking to purchase in the area, right? So don't think that you can't bother people during the holidays. If they're motivated, if you're bringing true value to the call, then you're not bothering them. Cool. So I think that one we can keep sort of short and sweet.
Yep.
Anything to touch on there, Ava?
I would say also, I feel like we always reach out to past clients for the holidays. I've only been in the business for about a year now, so I don't have a ton of clients or past clients to reach out to. So an idea that you could use if you don't have a ton of people, you could also reach out to prospective clients, maybe people that you haven't spoken to yet, people that you took out and they didn't end up purchasing, even a renter or something that's small that you did as well, just to kind of expand and not just focus on the past clients as well.
Yeah. And I think that's a good point. And I think the other thing to touch upon there is what we said was call, not text.
Yeah.
Right. I feel like a lot of people come into the office, agents, they shoot out 25 text messages and they're like, I've done my prospecting for the day. That's not prospecting, right? We've all got text messages that we've opened, didn't reply to, and just saw it, right? It's not the same, right? If I shoot you a text, you don't have to reply. That's the beauty of the text. If I call you, I'm going to get some information out of you, right? I might find out that you're no longer interested. I might find out that you're interested, but you're waiting till February. I might find out that you're waiting for your Christmas bonus. And if it's not what you think it is, then you may not be able to purchase. I'm going to find out a lot more by calling. Every path leads to the phone. The agents that are not afraid of the phone are the ones who will come out on top. I can promise you that. So, whether you're, was this the one we were talking about, Facebook, Instagram?
Yeah, whether you get your leads from, Instagram or a hashtag, or you have Zillow calls, whatever it is, wherever you have your leads from, ultimately your goal is to get them on the phone. That way you could set the appointment, take them out, or meet them for a listing appointment. So don't try to avoid the phone. Try to get them on the phone right away, because the ultimate path is a phone call.
Exactly. So that is number 5. Again, don't avoid the phone. You should be spending these days that are a little bit slower during the holidays going through a list of people that you need to call, right? And what we try to do in our office is the mornings are for prospecting, for hunting, for new business. You can spend a little bit of that time on lead follow-up, but be honest with yourself. Most of that time should be spent for people you have been trying to reach, you've been trying to get a hold of, that you've never talked to, right? Then you could do some lead follow-up, then do some database calling, but really segment that so you really can kind of track your numbers, right? Not only track your numbers, but also just get in the flow of it, right? You make 5 holiday calls or 5 calls about a new listing, you've got that script down, right? It's so much easier to make 6, 7, 8 more of those if you know what to say, right? You're going to start realizing that people say the same thing. How many bedrooms is it? How many square feet is it? And then you start improving on that call. So do yourself a favor. If you've made 10 of them, make 10 more, because it's that much easier once you've got them down.
Yeah.
But again, every path leads to the phone. People will try to tell you, and I think you can get business from social media. I mean, that's part of the reason we started the podcast. But I think it's a little bit more name on brain recognition. And you're not going to get a million people knocking on your door saying, hey, list my house just because I saw you on Instagram or I saw you post on Facebook. You can sprinkle a few more deals in per year because of that. Even if you're doing it at a high level, maybe that brings you 10, 15 deals a year. In addition, if you're doing it at a really high level, however, all of us want to do a hell of a lot more deals than 10 or 15 deals a year, right? So again, try to cut out all the texting. You can do texting in addition to your calls, but really, really don't avoid the phone. Get on the phone and get in front of these people, and don't be shy. The hardest call to make every day is the first call. Once you make the first one, you get in the flow. You're rocking and rolling. So, all right, number 6, we wrote, consider flexible financing and using some creative financing. So there's a few different points here. First and foremost, what I would say is we're going to have to think outside the box a little bit. Interest rates are higher. One of the things that we've talked to our clients about is, would you consider using a 5-year ARM, an adjustable rate mortgage? We happen to be in a market where a lot of people end up, the average holding period for some of the condos in our city is 2 to 3 years, right? Somebody might buy a studio, and while they own that studio, they meet their wife or fiance, and they want to upgrade to a 2-bedroom, or they want to move to the suburbs. They're only going to hold that unit for 2 or 3 years. So a 5-year ARM, an adjustable rate mortgage, is not a crazy idea if they can get it at a lower interest rate than a 30-year fixed, right? It's also not a horrible idea for somebody who says, hey, I might be in that unit for more than 5 years, but I'm willing to take a bet that, in the next 4 or 5 years, interest rates will come down. They definitely will. At that point, you can refinance. So it's almost like a temporary solution to sort of, get around some of these higher interest rates that you were experiencing, 6% for a 30-year fixed. I had a client today who asked the seller to give them a seller's concession, right? The list price is $500,000. They said, we'll pay $520,000, but we want a $20,000 concession. They're going to use that money to buy down the interest rate. So they're actually going to buy it down from 6%. I think their goal is to buy it down to like 3% or 3.5%. So I think I'll give them an A for effort. It's creative. The seller has to agree to it, but hey, like we always say, get an offer in front of the seller, open up the conversation, see what they say. It's the first offer I've gotten on that property in, 2 months. So my seller was a lot more willing to negotiate than he was probably 2 months ago.
Yeah.
So be creative, think outside the box. Most agents are just saying, oh, well, interest rates are high. There's nothing I can do. I'll wait. No, don't wait. Take action, be creative, speak to your lender in your market and ask them, hey, what are some other agents doing, right? One of the ideas that our lender gave us today was, he said, you know what I would recommend? Why don't you just ask the seller to pay 2 years of the maintenance fee up front, right? The maintenance fee is $500. For a year, that's $6,000, right? For 2 years, that's $12,000. Instead of asking them for money towards buying down the rate, why don't you ask the seller to pay some of the maintenance fee, right? It's an option for condos, right? Mm-hmm. So different creative ways to get deals done, right? So that was number 6. Consider creative financing. Speak with your preferred lender. Ask him or her what agents are doing to get deals done, if they've seen anything creative. And certainly make sure, just in any market, know where the 5-year ARM is at and know where the 30-year fixed is at. Yeah. Any questions so far? Fernanda, don't be shy. Paria?
No, we're good.
Awesome. Okay, cool. We got a small crew today, so happy to take some time for questions. All right, so number 7, we wrote down, there are a lot more expired listings. Consider spending this downtime working on, your scripts and your skills. So in the market that we were experiencing 12 months ago, 18 months ago, where homes were literally, flying off the shelf, a lot of homes weren't expiring, right? You could be that crazy person who put their home up at 600,000 when we all knew it was really worth 550. You probably got offers. You probably sold it. It probably didn't expire. These days, homes are staying on the market longer days on market. There's a lot more expired listings. Why not spend this time improving your skills, right? This is a time when a lot of agents are exiting the business. Those people who used to drive Uber, who just got their license because somebody in the back of their Uber told them they made $20,000 on one transaction. Those people are putting their license in referral status, or they're just not, continuing in the business because the easy money is not so easy, right? So use this time to really improve your skills. If your sole experience in this business has been working with buyers, try to hone up your skills. I know Fernanda's always watching YouTube videos and just always asking great questions. Try to work on your skills so that you can have some more intelligent conversations with sellers, right? Find a mentor. I'll tell Fernanda every day, and Ava and me and Nikki have, all worked on opportunities together. You set up the appointment. Get skilled enough to set up the appointment, and I will go to that appointment with you. So find a mentor that will go on the appointment with you if you're nervous about what to say on the actual appointment or how to prepare for the appointment. But get skilled enough to actually set up those appointments, get in front of these sellers, and I can guarantee you can find somebody who can help you, get it signed. So, but if you sit here and say, hey, well, I only know how to work with buyers, that's all I know how to do, and buyers aren't buying right now, so I don't know what to do, then it's a little bit of a reactive approach. Be proactive, learn the skills, and figure out if you need to shift a little bit and work with some more sellers, right? Because the sellers that go on the market at the right price these days, a lot of them still are selling, right? Some of these buyers out there, as much as they might be motivated, sometimes they run the numbers on the specific property and they're just like, you know what, with the taxes and the maintenance, it's going to be too much for me right now. So consider working on your skills and becoming a little bit more listing focused. All right, so that was number 7. Ava, I'll let you take the lead on this one, number 8 with the rental.
Yes. So along with kind of expanding, maybe focusing a little bit on the listing side and expanding who you talk to, we would also say too, don't be shy with working with rental clients. So something that I've done in the past couple of weeks was really build up my rentals. And, if we have a rental listing, focus on those leads, focus on renting them something else. It's good to add them to your database because next year they could turn into buyers. They might also turn into buyers. Right now, I know like Fernanda had one, right? That was a renter, it turned into a buyer. So
yeah, she was originally looking to rent, and then we had the conversation with her. I introduced her to our lender, and she felt comfortable speaking with him, and now we're under contract. So
yeah, and just be strategic, right? I mean, maybe if you say, hey, I don't want to work with renters, it's just not my thing. My response would be, what if I told you could call 100 renters, which would probably take you 3 hours, right? You could convert one of them to a buyer. Well, I would do that, right? Or be more strategic and say, hey, or set a standard for yourself. I'm never going to call a buyer under $2,000. Fine, no problem. Call the ones above $2,000, right? Call them all with value, like we said before. Hey, I have, like if you're specifically focusing on Hoboken or one specific city, go on the MLS, find a nice 1-bedroom, do the math real quick. All right, I could buy this 1-bedroom. It will cost me $2,500 a month to own this unit, even at a 6% interest rate. Mortgage, taxes, insurance included. Call all your renters. Hey, are you still considering a rental? Okay, only focused on rentals? Great, I can help you with that. And I also have this other unit I just came across. It actually would only cost you like $2,500 a month to own it. Would you consider making a purchase? You really only have to put down 3%, 3.5%, whatever your lender tells you. And again, you're taking the reverse idea, right? You found a property and now you're trying to find a buyer. That's what we're supposed to be doing as listing agents. We don't necessarily do that sometimes. We just open it up to everybody.
Yep.
But again, take that opposite focus and call people with intent, right? So try to convert some of those renters to buyers. If they're solely set on just renting, rent them something. If you
something
have,
that I could, sorry, go ahead.
No, I love it.
One thing that I could add on turning the renter to the buyers that I've done in the past on my list, sponsoring breakfast or just coffee or whatever, donuts, for any of the apartment buildings. If you could partner up with their team, the leasing teams, and going there, sitting there and talking to the buyers, because renters, because they're eventually someone that they might know, or someone that they're living there, they might turn in to a buyer.
Yep, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
I know our lenders are constantly saying, I get emails from lenders all the time. They're like, hey, I see you're having an open house on Saturday for X property. Can I make a flyer for you that shows the down payments, right? If you put down 10%, your payment will be this. If you put down 20%, your payment will be this. Call a lender, call our preferred lender, call a lender you want to work with, whatever you want to do. Have them make a rate sheet for you, right? Of course, we're in sales. It needs to show that the payment is reasonable. I'm not saying show, advertise something, but of course it has to make sense, right? Don't show renters that are trying to pay $2,000 a $3,000 mortgage payment, right? We're strategic here. Look at what the mortgage payment comes out to, and make sure it makes sense for sales and marketing purposes, and then get that in front of those people. So if the payment is showing $2,500, show that to people who are paying $3,000 a month in rent, or $2,800, or even the same $2,500 a month in rent, right? So that you can reposition those people and say, hey, you're paying your landlord's mortgage. Would you consider, purchasing so you can pay your own mortgage, right? And build some of your own equity. And I would say if the people are absolutely set on renting, again, find one great property in your market, even if it's not your listing. Go out and try to find a bunch of, you can even ask the listing agent, hey, if they're in your office, ideal, that would be ideal. If you're outside of your office, hey, would you be okay with me marketing your property? I'm going to use all the details. Market it, get it out there, talk to people about it. And then what I would do is when you're going to show this property, today's Wednesday, if you know you're showing it on Friday at 3 p.m., try to get 4 or 5 people to meet you there Friday at 3 p.m. to make it the best use of your time. So you're not just driving out there to meet one client, you're meeting 5 clients, right? And then I would strategically time it so that they're all showing up at the same time. One's at 3 o'clock, one's at 3:10, one's at 3:20, one's at 3:30. They all see each other. You create that demand, that momentum. Oh my gosh, can you guys just wait outside 1 second? I'm finishing up with this client. Oh my God, you came a little bit early. Let me just finish with this client. They're all here. They see the activity. They get it sold, right? We all saw those open houses that were happening over the last 12 months where there's a line around the block. That was not done by accident, right? That creates urgency, right? So, if you're going to drive out and show that rental, we know you're making less money, but try to do it strategically so you can at least have a better chance of winning. Cool. And as Ava said, put them in your database.
I'm so sorry. I just want to touch on that really quickly. That really does work because that's how I got my rental last week.
Yep.
I went out and I showed a really nice unit, and there was 2 clients that were there, and the one client loved it, and she actually said out loud, "Oh my God, that's our competition. We have to do this tonight." So it does work.
It works every time. And
yeah.
And listen, if they hate it, it's not going to convince them to like it just because somebody's outside. But there's a weird psychology of people liking something that much more if they think that other people are interested. It's weird. I can't tell you how many times we've had a listing that's on the market for 2 months. We've had no activity. Then all of a sudden we get one offer. And when people hear that there's one offer, 2 more come in. Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of people sometimes sitting on the fence. And then when they see, a lot of buyers will ask you, and renters, why hasn't anybody made an offer? Why is this one still available? What's going on? What am I missing? And then when they see that somebody else sees the value, they're like, oh my God, I'm going to lose it. So I need to act quickly, right? It's a weird psychology, but we're salespeople. We need to create urgency. We need to create momentum. So it's okay. Book those appointments back to back. Get all those people there in and out. Cool. So point number 9. We said consistency is key. Just like anything in this business, we really need to amplify our efforts, right? I've used this analogy a million times. You can't go to the gym, come home and look in the mirror and say, how come I haven't lost weight, right? You can't go to the gym once, come home and say, how come I haven't lost weight? Or how come I don't have a six pack yet, right? You need to go for months at a time and continually do the same exercise and continually put in those reps to build muscle, right? It's the same thing with this business. You can't come in one day, call 50 people and then say, well, it didn't work, or prospecting is not working, right? I mean, I legitimately called 50 people every single day for 5 years, right? And some of those people call me back in a week. Some of those people call me back 3 weeks later or 3 years later, right? Nikki's been in the business now almost 2 full years, and she's planting seeds. And, you know, if she closes 5 deals in a month, some of those people are people she just met yesterday. And some of those people are people she's been nurturing for 2 years, right? Holding their hand. So consistency is key. It's not enough right now to prospect for 2 or 3 days a week. What we wrote here was, you really got to treat this like a full-time job. The agents that are still doing deals and still doing a lot of deals in this market are really making sure that they're prospecting 5 days a week, right? And prospecting could be anything you want it to be. We could call it anything you want. Lead generation, prospecting. But again, we found the best thing to do is to get on the phone. A lot more people are working from home these days with COVID. They're a lot more able to take your call. Good for us. They're actually a lot more able to, in a much better position to leave their desk, their work from home environment in the middle of the day to see homes. I don't know about you, Priya, but in our market, it used to be that the average person would want to see homes at 5, 6, 7 p.m. when they got off of work. All of a sudden with COVID, now people are available at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, right?
Pretty much the same since COVID.
Yeah. So let's use that to our benefit, right? Now we can actually show homes at 1, 3, 4 o'clock and be home with our family by 5, 6 o'clock and have a regular life like we've never had before. So, but the goal of this point was consistency is key. It's doing the same, you know, it's mastering what we always call the repetitious boredom, right? Let's be honest, right? You have to be sort of a sick individual to think it's fun to put a headset on every single morning and call your database and call those people, right? It gets boring, you know, but you have to make it fun, right? That's why in our team, we try to all do it together, because we knew that if we were at home by ourselves, we might not do it. We probably wouldn't do it. Sort of similar to going to the gym. A lot of people can't go to the gym by themselves. So what do? They get an accountability partner, or they hire a personal trainer so that they have to go at the same time. It's on their calendar. There's no way to avoid it. So again, be consistent with your prospecting. Call your leads, call your clients database 4 times a year, call them with value, and just make sure you're putting in that time every day to do it consistently. Cool. And what I would say too is this, you know, don't do it, like, do it for your family. Do it for the people that count on, you know, rely on you, right? Don't just show up because like that's what you have to do to be on your team, or that's what you have to do to be, you know, to feel good. Like, make those calls because like you realize that like you've told your spouse, I'm going to work, right? And what does going to work mean? It doesn't mean just open up my laptop and answering emails, right? Like, you really need to, you know, convince yourself and connect the dots that you're not really working in this business unless you're hunting, right? So again, spend the mornings hunting, the afternoons you can service your business, right? A lot of those things that come up in the morning can usually wait until the afternoon.
Yeah.
You know, that seller that needs to speak with you about the buyer who left the door unlocked, you know, if it's an absolute emergency, step out for 2 seconds, take the call. But most times you could get back to that person at 12 o'clock. So again, that was number 9. Consistency is key. Ava, did I miss anything there?
I think that was pretty much it. We're in the office every day, Monday through Thursday, trying to prospect throughout the morning. We even do role play every day. Keeping the same routine, keeping it consistent really just helps going forward.
Yeah. And it's painful, right? You know, having that same script every day, not necessarily what I want to do every morning, but do I know that script has made me a lot of money? You know, millions of dollars? Yes. Do I know that script works? Yes. Do I know that, you know, you have to put in the hard work. And that's the thing. People want the easy work. They want the easy business, and they end up doing 2 or 3 deals a year. Master the repetitious boredom. do the work that people don't want to do, and I can guarantee you, the consistency will show up. And here's the good part. It's free, right? It is literally free, right? It doesn't cost you anything to put in those hours, right? It's painful. That's why you have to make it fun. You have to make bets. We have bets. Nikki and I made a few bets last week. I said, here's $300 cash. If I don't make my 100 calls that I wanted to make that day, I was trying to be aggressive, then that's her money, right? If you gotta have, people are either attracted to, not attracted to, but appreciate either fines or like rewards, right? So I get $300 if I make my calls, or I lose $300 if I don't make my calls. Whatever little crazy game you have to play with yourself or your family, do it, right? I've had people, I mean, I don't have kids, but I've had people who I know that have been in my like masterminds and groups and stuff who literally put an accountability board on their fridge. And Ava, you'll appreciate this. And this is a mother talking to their 2 kids. Hey, we're going to go to Disney World this year if mommy does 10 deals or if she does 20 deals. You bet your ass that every single day, those kids are like, mommy, did you do a deal? Did you do a deal? Right? And there's nothing more painful than going home and telling your kids like, no, I haven't done a deal in a while. So, I don't know, answer to your family, but put yourself in a situation where, you hold yourself accountable. So,
Yep.
All right, that's number 9. So number 10, what we wrote here was if you think your market is down by 20%, for example, maybe it's down 25%, you need to be working that same percentage, that above and beyond of what you normally do. So if your market's down 20%, you need to be doing about 120% of what you were doing 6 months ago, 12 months ago, right? To maintain the income, right, that you were making, right? So it's that time where you have to put in the extra effort to maintain and make the money that you could have been making 6, 12 months ago, right? So that's just, I heard somebody say it that way and it made a lot of sense to me. Again, if your market's down 30%, you got to be putting in 30% extra effort, right? So what does that mean? Maybe that means calling extra people each day, calling your database. Maybe that means instead of calling them 4 times a year, you're calling them 8 times a year. Maybe that means, hey, I never really used to like to work on the weekends, but now I'm going to start working on some Saturdays. I would suggest keeping 1 day off on the weekends just for your own sanity. Maybe that means, if you sent out a lot of mailers to certain areas or just certain geographic farms, maybe you send out, 20% more mailers, 25% more mailers. So we really have to increase our activities. Grant Cardone has a great book called The 10X Rule, and he talks about just being successful in life. You need to 10X your activities for everything you do. Do 10 times more than everybody else, and you will be 10 times more successful. So, and one thing Grant always talks about too, which I think is sort of consistent with this point, is just make sure you don't have white space on your calendar. White space means way too much downtime. Overbook yourself, right? If that means calling for sell by owners and saying, hey, I want to come and preview your property. Can I come by today at 4:00? Right? Set that up. I know it's not a listing appointment, but if you do enough of those, you do 3 or 4 of those a week, those people will be like, oh, Fernanda, you're from Harrison too? Like, I grew up in Harrison. Oh my gosh, like you're Cuban too? Oh, interesting. And I'm not saying just go and try to build rapport with people about non-real estate things. I'm just saying good things happen if you put yourself in enough of those positions. I've told you guys the story about the for sale by owner who called me and said, John, I need to buy another house. And my lender is telling me that if my house right here is not on the market, I can't buy the new house. Can you get my house on the market by tomorrow? Because I need to put in an offer on the new house. And I was like, this woman's legitimately using me, right? But I don't care about being used as a listing agent. Use me. You wanted to price your home correctly? Let's put it on the market tomorrow. She called me because I had stayed in front of her and I was there and I gave her value, but otherwise I hadn't created that opportunity for myself. So just make sure you're filling your calendar. No white space on the calendar. We're in a position where you could go home every day at 2:00, 3:00 if you wanted to. but try to fill up your calendar so you're at least out and being productive till 4 or 5 o'clock. Of course, if you have the ability to without kids and stuff, fill up that calendar, whether that means previews, whether that means, doing drop-bys on expired listings, whether that means, of course, meeting with clients. Set up those appointments and good things happen. Ava, did I miss anything else there?
Nope, I think that was pretty much it.
Yeah, so that wraps it up. That's 10 things that we would say you can do to double your income in today's market. Again, the big thing is a lot of agents are going to be dropping off because of time of year. A lot of agents are going to leave the business just because the easy money is not so easy anymore. This is certainly a time to work on your skills, improve your conversations, get in front of more people, seek out more rejection. That's not something we talked about today, but put yourself in situations where you can get rejected. That sounds weird, I know, but doing passive activities like open houses, right? When you just hold a house open, you sit there from 2 to 4, you have absolutely no control of who walks in that door. Maybe you could do some door knocking and try to build up the interest, but you can't control how many people come there. Something that you can control is calling a whole neighborhood. I know that if I call this many people, I will talk to this many people. And if I talk to this many people, I can turn that into X number of appointments. The numbers are duplicatable and replicatable when it's proactive activities. But there's not enough rejection in an open house. You can't get rejected at an open house unless you like legitimately lock the door. And then you're just, probably shouldn't be in this business, right? But you literally can't get rejected at an open house. So the success rate is so low, right? The odds of just falling into a buyer at an open house is super low. But if you put yourself in a situation where you can get rejected, whether that means calling expireds, calling for sale by owners, being more proactive, doing things that agents aren't doing. Every agent's doing open houses. Do something that they're not doing. Put yourself in a situation to get rejected more often. And I can guarantee you that all those no's will lead to a yes. That's honestly perfect for you, Fernanda, just because rejection doesn't scare you, right? But that's unique for a lot of people, right? A lot of people come into this business, they're like, oh my gosh, so many people said no. You have to actually get to it's a sickness, but you have to actually get to a point where like you actually get excited to get the no, because it's a numbers game. You call 100 people, 2 of them are going to say yes, 3 of them are going to say yes, depending on the lead source or what your actual focus is. But the no's are okay. They lead you to a yes.
Actually, the first time I ever met Ava at that open house in November, she told me the same thing.
Yeah.
I forgot what we were talking about, but she was like, just like another no is like 100 no's, or you're eventually going to get a yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, if you call someone and they tell you no, it's fine. It's actually good because you're one more no closer to the yes. Even at like the open house, if they're like, I don't like this place, or same with the showing, I don't like this house. Okay, great, because now we're one house closer to finding a house that you like.
Yep.
So
yeah. Or when somebody signed in and he was like, you're not like, no one's going to call me though, right? And Ava was like, no. He leaves and she's like, I'll call you on Monday.
yeah.
It's just putting yourself out there more, right? Like, again, the average agent's going to hold that house open and think that they're going to fall into a buyer. It's okay to do the open house, but you can't just expect immediate business from it. Or if you're going to do the open house, do it in a way where other buyers aren't doing it, right? I've seen people go out and spend $100 on 10 $10 bottles of wine, right? It's $10 per bottle of wine. It's not the best wine you've ever seen, but you put it in a nice bag, you put your business card in it, and you cherry pick the 10 most expensive houses in the neighborhood, or the ones that you've seen maybe have been owned for 10 years or have not transferred over, right? You may not want to knock on the door of the people who just bought across the street because they may not be willing to sell so soon. but you strategically knock on those doors while you're holding the house open, or before. The day before is probably better, right? Hey, just wanted to introduce myself. I'm Ava from Lighthouse Residential. I'm doing an open house over here tomorrow from 2 to 4. Just wanted to give you a bottle of wine and introduce myself. Oh my gosh, Ava, that's so nice, right? Cost you $100. I would bet you that one of those people, maybe not next week, but in the next month, 6 months, a year, again, consistency is key, they will call you, right? And it's a little bit of like Irish guilt. You give somebody a bottle of wine, like when you call them to give them a market update or add value or tell them about a new listing you're bringing to the market in the next month, you've given them something. So they're almost like, I can't rush her off. All right, Ava, oh, no, that is interesting. Okay, yeah, I'll take your call. Okay, cool. And when the time is right for them, whether that's in a week, 2 weeks, 10 weeks, they will call you. So again, find ways to stand out. Cool. Was this helpful for you guys?
Yeah,
Definitely.
Very helpful. Thank you.
Yeah. Anything else that you'd like to add?
No, I think you did touch base on everything. One thing we've been hearing a lot, especially from Tom Ferry, I've heard to do lots of videos to be in front of other people. So video. He's actually saying 3 videos a day, that's my weak side. So
yeah, I would say that's a great idea. It takes Nikki, are you in a place where you can say something? I'm putting her on the spot. She may not actually be. She may just be listening to us in the background. I met a guy. I started following him on Instagram because I thought he'd be a great person to be on the podcast. The next day, he sent me a video personalized for me that was probably 40 seconds. Nikki doesn't have a microphone. So he just filmed a video in his office. And he made sure he looked decent and he had a good background. And he's like, hey, John, thanks so much for the follow. Really appreciate, your interest. Hope we can collaborate sometime in the future. Right. And then the next day I literally was like, this guy's awesome. I like what he's done on Instagram. I invited him to be on the podcast. Now he's in my network. Right. So if I need something from him, he happens to be a very well-known realtor, does a lot of content, but now he's in my network. Up before that, I never had him. How does that relate to you guys? I know you don't have a podcast. You could do the same thing for a seller. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller at 123 Main Street. I've been trying to reach you. I haven't been able to get you on the phone. I just wanted to put a quick face with the name. I'm in my office. I'm out there hunting for buyers for my sellers. I saw that your home came off the market. I'd love to see if there was a time that we could meet to share with you the marketing plan I'm using to sell 100 homes a year. And if you're not selling 100 homes a year, that's fine. My team is selling 100 homes a year using this marketing plan. I think your home would be a great fit for our plan. When would be the best time for us to meet? Tomorrow at 2, tomorrow at 4? Shoot me a note back. I think a lot of people are going to look at that video and be like, who is this person? They just sent me a video. They're probably going to watch it, right? I've even seen some other agents, like Ava's got a whiteboard behind her, literally write the cursed person's name on a piece of paper, right? We have little mini whiteboards in our office. If you saw a video and the first image, the cover photo was me holding a piece of paper that said Ava on it, right? You'd be like, this guy's got my name on a board. What is this? They play the video. And then all of a sudden they're like, you know what? I don't know. When I got this video from this guy on Instagram, Brooks, first of all, he's a well-known guy. I was just sort of flattered. What I was trying to get Nikki to comment on was when Nikki started following him after he was on our podcast, he sent her a personalized video too. So he's sending it to everybody that follows him, right? So I sort of felt a little bit less special. But what Priya is saying is send videos, especially, if you're dressed up and you look professional, send it out. It takes 30 seconds. Don't worry about if you didn't sound 100%. They're not going to, it's like a voicemail. When was the last time you listened to the full voicemail? They're probably not going to listen to the whole thing. Get it out there. Numbers game, put them out there. It definitely works.
Even for the holiday messages that you were mentioning or birthday anniversaries, it doesn't, I mean, I think video, they will watch it and be more personalized and will be more touchy than just a text message or voicemail.
Yeah. Funny story. I don't check Facebook messages that often, but I checked them once a couple months ago. And this agent that I know, who I think he's in California, I just know him through a couple masterminds. He had sent me a video every year on my birthday for the last 5 years. Hey, John, I forget his name. Chris something. Hey, John, it's Chris, your realtor in Los Angeles. Just wanted to take a minute and wish you a happy birthday. I hope it's a great day. You know, keep me in mind if you have any referrals in Los Angeles. Done. I don't check Facebook that much, so it wasn't very influential for me, but somebody who's in Facebook Messenger every single day. But it was crazy. I saw every day on my birthday. So his schedule, he's consistent. He sends a video to all of his Facebook friends on their birthday and reminding people he's in real estate. I thought it was great. It's
for someone like that, you could send it as a text message. You could send it on a Facebook Messenger, and you could also send it in the email. So John might not get it on his Facebook messages, but somebody else might. But somebody else might not check their email as often. So you could blast it on all three.
Yep. Yeah. It's pretty cool. But like, listen, we all have Facebook. When it's your birthday, 1 million people write on your little board, happy birthday, Ava, you know, all day long, you're getting all those messages, but not many people send you the video, right? So it's the same thing. Your home is on the market, it expires, right? A bunch of agents will try to call you one time. Very few agents call you 2, 3, 4, 5 times. Everybody's going to send you a text message. Very few people are sending the video, right? So again, seek out more rejection. Put yourself in a situation where you're doing things that not everybody's doing. Try to get ahead of that, right? Yeah, the video is really good for people who you can't get to answer your phone. I think it's really great for database. You know, it's certainly something that I've had. I even use it for someone I'm going to meet with. Like if you guys set an appointment with a high-end buyer for, let's just say, $1 million, right? It's okay to send them a quick video. You know, we all have buyers that we put on the calendar. Today's Wednesday. You put a buyer on your calendar for Saturday at 2 o'clock. On Friday at 5 o'clock, he says, "Oh, I'm sorry, something came up. I have to cancel." Right? What I would say consider doing is say, "Hey, you know, Joe, I know Joe," and you write the name on the thing as the intro. "Joe, I'm super excited. I have you on the calendar for Saturday at 2 o'clock. I've already started putting together a list of some homes that I think would be a great fit for you based on what you've told me. I'm scheduling them all now." You're planting the seed, right? That you take this seriously. Some of these people think that you don't. It takes you 2 seconds to schedule those appointments. I've already started working on it. I've got another, 20 or 30 minutes here. I'm going to get us into all these properties. Super excited to meet you and your wife on Saturday at 2 o'clock. Just wanted to send you this quick video, put a face with the name. That's it. That's it. Send it to them. No one else is doing that. If they meet another agent on Friday who promises them the world, they're not going to cancel your appointment. They know you put in work. They're that much more likely to want to meet you. So plant those seeds.
I'm going to try that then. I have an appointment on Saturday. I'm going to do it on Friday.
Yeah. And it's they feel like, first of all, what I'll say is they've already Googled you, because they wouldn't be setting an appointment with you if they had no idea, like, who is this person? Are they on a team? Have they ever done anything? What's their situation? Are there bad reviews, right? So this is a way where they feel like they've already met you because of the video. I can't tell you how many times I've gone to a seller. I used to do this for every seller I was meeting with. And by the time they open the door, they already know what I look like, that I'm dressed professionally, that I can speak clearly, that, of course, I'm proactive. So if there's ways for the seller or the buyer to feel like they've known you that much longer, do it. Awesome. I think that was a really good point, Priya. So I appreciate you bringing that up. That was actually one
Of course, my pleasure.
Yeah, that was when I texted our crew today too. That came out from Broke Agent Media. I can't find it, but I'll try to share it again. But yeah, do things that certainly differentiate yourself. In this market, it's that much more important. So cool. Well,
Absolutely.
I have my eye on the clock here. I want to make sure that we keep on schedule for everybody. So I do appreciate you guys, logging on and being part of this. Ava, anything else that I may have forgotten?
I think that was it. Thank you, guys.
Awesome. Hopefully everybody found
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
And if you guys ever have anyone in Dallas, would love to partner up, and apparently vice versa.
Absolutely.
In Jersey. You guys are in Jersey, correct?
Yep. We're in northern New Jersey, right outside of Manhattan. We go in about 40-minute direction, in anywhere in northern Jersey.
Beautiful. Okay.
All right.
Very nice meeting you all.
Take care.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.